If I had my life as Elizabeth Taylor to live over again, what would I change? Nothing.
Golden Age actors were the epitome of glamour and talent, but are their kids really chips off the old block? From striking resemblances to unexpected lives, here's what the children of 15 Golden Age actors look like, and some of these revelations might just leave you speechless. Number 15. Elizabeth Taylor's son, Michael Wilding Jr. Born in London to affluent American parents, Elizabeth Taylor is Hollywood royalty through and through. Starting as a child actress in the early 1940s, it took Taylor only a decade to become one of the most celebrated stars of classical Hollywood. By the 1960s, she was the world's highest-paid movie star and maintained her status as a prominent public figure throughout her life, a feat many Golden Age icons could only dream of. Little wonder why the American Film Institute honored her as the 7th greatest female screen legend. Her legend was only matched by the tumultuous relationships that serenaded her personal life. She had 7 husbands and several rumored flings within the industry. Yet motherhood was a blessing to the actress. She was a mother above all else and once declared her children make her the proudest of anything she's ever done. Elizabeth Taylor's 4 children, Michael Wilding Jr., Christopher Wilding, Liza Todd, and Maria McQueen, were her best friends, and though she never claimed any favorites, Michael Jr. proves the apple indeed never falls far from the tree. Born in Santa Monica, Michael Wilding Jr., the son of Taylor's second husband, was her first child and arguably the most in tune with her. He treaded his mother's path by going into show business, starting with cameos in her 1967 film The Taming of the Shrew, which also featured her then-husband, Richard Burton. Though the main passion in the latter part of his life was sculpting, Michael Jr. is best known for appearances on 80s soaps like Guiding Light and Dallas. He also shared another credit with his mother in the TV movie Sweet Bird of Youth in 1989. He became a father in the 1970s, welcoming daughters Layla Wilding and Naomi Wilding from Beth Clutter and Johanna Leike Dawn, respectively. He later married Brooke Palance, the daughter of Oscar-winning Jack Palance and actress Virginia Baker, who sired his actor son, Tarkin Wilding, in 1989. During their childhood, Michael's 3 children shared a close bond with their grandmother, who was deeply committed to being a part of their lives and nurturing the younger generations of the family. This connection extended beyond personal moments, as all 3 of them are actively involved in the Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation.
And a host of stars, including Marilyn Monroe, attended the christening of Clark Gable's baby. Clark's widow, Kay, brought her 10-week-old son, which the great star himself did not live to see.
Number 14. Clark Gable's son, John Gable. If Elizabeth Taylor was the queen of Hollywood, then Clark Gable must have been the king. Starring in more than 60 films in a wide range of genres during a career that lasted almost 4 decades, 3 of which he was a leading man, Gable was named the 7th greatest male movie star of the classic American cinema by the American Film Institute. Still not impressed? Gable was one of the most consistent box office performers in the history of Hollywood and starred opposite many of the greatest actresses of the Golden Age, most notably Loretta Young in Call of the Wild. In 1960, Gable's 5th wife, model and actress Williams, became pregnant with their only child. Tragically, Gable passed away from a sudden heart attack at 59, just 5 months into her pregnancy. Their son, John Clark Gable, was born in March 1961 and never had the chance to meet his father. The saddest part is that Gable was so invested in the relationship and the birth of his son, the only child he ever acknowledged. While filming his final movie, The Misfits, in Nevada, Gable boasted to a reporter that he would take a hiatus from acting to be with his wife and son. Though Clark and John Gable never got the chance to bond, the latter grew up on the family's ranch in Encino and dabbled in the industry, with appearances in the 1990 film Bad Jim with James Brolin and a handful of other roles. He was also very passionate about truck racing and cars, just like his father, which he did professionally for several years. John had 2 children with his first wife, Tracy Yarrow. Kaylee Gable, born in 1986, and Clark Gable III, born in 1988. The latter was a model and actor renowned for his hosting the reality show Cheaters, but he tragically passed away from a drug overdose in 2019 at the age of 30. John is now married to his third wife, Deborah Hartzell Gable, whom he married in 2020. Moving away from Hollywood royalty, let's talk about the children of Golden Age rebels. Number 13, Marlon Brando's son, Christian Brando. Widely considered one of the greatest actors of the 20th century, Marlon Brando is renowned for popularizing the Stanislavski system and method acting among mainstream audiences. He also received numerous accolades over his 6-decade career. These included 2 Academy Awards, 3 BAFTA Awards, a Cannes Film Festival Award, 2 Golden Globe Awards, and a Primetime Emmy. But for all of his success in the industry, Brando lived a very tumultuous personal life, including multiple affairs, poor treatment of women, and queer relationships, which the industry heavily scorned at the time. He fathered at least 11 children, 3 of whom were with his housekeeper and another 3 adopted. His death in 2004 was also met with controversy when the daughter of actress Cynthia Lynn claimed that he was her father. She believed Brando and her mother had an affair that resulted in her birth, but nothing was ever confirmed. In any case, Brando's eldest son, Christian, born in 1958, is easily the most infamous child of the Golden Age icon. Following in his father's footsteps by being an actor, Christian was good enough to snatch several roles before his criminal record overshadowed him. His ex-wife Deborah filed a lawsuit in 2005 accusing him of assault and threats to unalive her while their daughter was present. The case was settled in 2007, a year before Christian died from pneumonia. Before that, though, Christian Brando fatally shot Dag Drolet, the boyfriend of his half-sister, Cheyenne. This happened back in 1990 and was reportedly an accident. Cheyenne informed Christian that her partner, Drolet, had been violent with her. After drinking heavily that night, Christian confronted Drolet. He claimed he only intended to threaten him with a gun, but had accidentally discharged. Christian pled guilty to manslaughter, was jailed in 1991, and released in 1996. When Marlon Brando passed away in 2004, he left behind 11 children and 30 grandchildren. He specifically excluded his late daughter Cheyenne's children and his adopted daughter Petra from his will. Brando's estate, including real estate and private property, was valued at approximately $21.6 million and divided among his remaining family members. Up next, we have...
Well, look what we have here, fellas. Our little friend Danielle. Hello, Danielle. What's the matter? Mommy not here to dress you?
Number 12. Steve McQueen's son, Chad McQueen. Is there anyone in the industry who personifies the Golden Age anti-hero better than Steve McQueen? At the height of the counterculture of the 1960s, McQueen was a top box office draw for his decade and received an Academy Award nomination for his role in 1966's The Sand Pebbles. By 1974, he was the highest-paid movie star in the world and dripped in riches. But remember, he was the bad boy of Hollywood. He spent his spare time drinking, doing drugs, visiting brothels, and flinging away with actresses. He was notorious for combating with directors and producers. The climax? When things got out of hand between him and his wife, Nellie Adams. One night, while the family was fast asleep, Nellie woke McQueen to confess to a brief affair she had long ago during the course of their 14-year marriage. What happened next was utter pandemonium. He pointed an unloaded gun at her and swore to punish her for her act. His major displeasure was that the fling was with another movie star, the Austrian actor Maximilian Schell, who appeared in a number of big movies like The Castle, Counterpoint, and Heidi. This violent episode marked the beginning of the end of their marriage. McQueen only had one son, Chad. He was a film producer, martial artist, race car driver, and actor like his dad. Chad McQueen began his career as a film actor, starring as Dutch in The Karate Kid and its sequel, followed by roles in direct-to-video action films like Martial Law and Redline. He also produced the documentary Filming at Speed, which won a Telly Award. After retiring from acting, McQueen appeared on motorsports-related TV shows such as Hot Rod TV and Celebrity Rides. Sadly, he passed away from organ failure on September 11, 2024 at age 63, after never fully recovering from a 2020 injury. Coming next are the kids of some of Hollywood's sweethearts. Number 11. Judy Garland's daughter, Liza. Would it be far-fetched to say Judy Garland is the greatest child star of all time? She was one of the industry's biggest faces as a child and excelled in both musical and dramatic roles as a recording artist and on the concert stage. She also won a special Tony Award, a Golden Globe, and is one of 12 people in history to clinch an Academy Juvenile Award. If only her personal life was rosier. Early stardom took a toll on her physical and mental health, with constant criticism from film executives about her appearance. She faced financial struggles, often owing large sums in back taxes, and battled substance abuse disorder throughout her life. She tragically died from a barbiturate overdose in 1969 at the age of 47. Before that, though, she birthed 3 beautiful children, 2 daughters and a son, and set them on an amazing path. Though all 3 are noteworthy in their own right, I can't help but feel Liza mirrors Garland's life, without the baggy weight of stardom, of course. Her first movie appearance came at the age of 3 in her mother's 1949 film Good Old Summertime. By 13, Liza was performing with Gene Kelly on TV. In the 1960s, she regularly appeared on The Judy Garland Show and joined her mom for concerts in London. By 19, she had already won a Tony Award for her role in Flora the Red Menace in 1965. One of the few faces in the industry to win an EGOT, Liza won an Oscar in 1972 for Cabaret, with her role as Sally Bowles becoming one of her lasting legacies. The next year, she earned an Emmy for Liza with a Z. After winning another Tony for The Act, she starred in films like Arthur and released albums across genres. In 1990, she earned a Grammy, completing the EGOT, joining a select group of 27 people to win all 4 major awards. She later won another Tony and 3 Golden Globes. Can you guess who's next? Number 10. Audrey Hepburn's son, Sean Ferrer. Born into an aristocratic family, Audrey Hepburn soared to fame with her role in the 1953 romantic comedy Roman Holiday alongside Gregory Peck. Her stellar acting there made her the first actress to win an Oscar, Golden Globe, and BAFTA for a single performance. Success was assured, and she gracefully thrived in Hollywood, gaining recognition as both a film and fashion icon. Don't believe it? The American Film Institute ranked her as the 3rd greatest female screen legend of classical Hollywood, and she was inducted into the International Best Dressed Hall of Fame. Contrary to what you might expect from a global superstar back in the day, Audrey Hepburn was actually a very devoted mother who never failed to put family first. She suffered multiple tragic miscarriages in her lifetime, but birthed 2 sons, Sean Hepburn Ferrer, born July 1960, with her ex-husband Mel Ferrer, and Luca Dotti in February 1970 with her second husband, Andrea Dotti. Sean Ferrer worked in the film industry for several years, focusing on development, production, and marketing, and served as an assistant director on various projects. In 2001, he directed the documentary Race Hoss about Albert Race Sample, a convicted criminal who became a writer and mentor to fellow inmates. In 2003, Ferrer published a biography of his mother, Audrey Hepburn, An Elegant Spirit. In 2020, he and his wife Karen released Little Audrey's Daydream, a children's book about Hepburn's childhood in Europe. A year after his mother's death in 1993, Ferrer founded the Audrey Hepburn Children's Fund, a charity supported by exhibitions of Hepburn memorabilia to continue her humanitarian work. Coming next is the daughter of the man who saw it all in Hollywood.
Barbara, how do you know my name? How do you know Neil? How do you know my name? How do you know Neil?
Number 9. Charlie Chaplin's daughter, Geraldine. If there's one man who defined the silent film era, it's got to be Charlie Chaplin. The English comic actor, filmmaker, and composer became a worldwide sensation for his portrayal of the Tramp, arguably the most recognizable character in the industry. Would you believe his career spanned more than 75 years? From childhood in the Victorian era until a year before his death in 1977, Chaplin was the quintessential Golden Age actor, embodying accolade and controversy. To date, many of his relationships, affairs, and even marriages remained heated disputes amongst Hollywood fans. But if there's one good thing that came out of his exuberance, it's got to be his daughter Geraldine, a star actress who appeared in a wide range of critically recognized Spanish and French films. Geraldine, the eldest of 8 children from Chaplin's 4th marriage to Una O'Neill, began her career in dance and modeling before turning to acting. She gained prominence with a Golden Globe-nominated role as Tanya in Dr. Zhivago in 1965, and made her Broadway debut in The Little Foxes 2 years later. Notable roles include Queen Nefertiti in Nefertiti and Akhenaten, a 2nd Golden Globe nomination for Nashville, and a BAFTA nod for Welcome to L.A., all in the 1970s. She later portrayed her grandmother in the 1992 biopic Chaplin, which earned her a 3rd Golden Globe nomination. Number 8. Ingrid Bergman's daughter, Pia Lindstrom. Whether you love or hate Ingrid Bergman, there's no denying that she's one of the most influential screen figures in cinematic history. With a career spanning 5 decades, the Golden Age icon earned numerous honors, including 3 Academy Awards, one of only 4 actresses to do so, 2 Emmys, a Tony, 4 Golden Globes, a BAFTA, and a Volpe Cup. It's hardly a surprise that the American Film Institute named her the 4th greatest female screen legend of classic Hollywood cinema. Success? Check. Charisma? Check. Good mother, though? Well, let's just see she wouldn't be winning the Mother of the Year award from us. Her high-profile separation from Swedish neurosurgeon Peter Lindstrom was messy, and this really affected the upbringing of Pia Lindstrom, his only child. Peter sued Ingrid for desertion, leading to a bitter custody battle that only worsened the mental health of a young Pia. Though she reunited with her mother years later, the damage was already done. Pia never had a normal upbringing, especially compared to her 3 half-siblings from her mother's marriage to Italian director Roberto Rossellini. However, Pia never let the baggage of her past weigh her down. Before her successful career in journalism, Lindstrom appeared in Italian films such as Marriage Italian Style, The Possessed, and The Queens in the mid-1960s. She later transitioned into journalism, starting as a reporter at KGO-TV in San Francisco in 1966, before joining WCBS-TV in New York in 1971. She also won 2 Emmy Awards and the Associated Press Broadcasters Award. Now retired, Pia Lindstrom is celebrated for her significant contributions to broadcast journalism and the arts. Up next is none other than her half-sister. Number 7. Isabella Rosolini. Born into cinematic royalty as the daughter of legendary actress Ingrid Bergman and celebrated Italian director Roberto Rossellini, many would have predicted Isabella to make it in the industry. She inherited her parents' striking good looks and passion for the arts. But unlike many children of Golden Age icons who struggled with their famous lineage, Isabella embraced it. She dared to carve a name in the same industry her mother ruled while establishing her own identity. She first rose to fame in the 1980s as a model, gracing the covers of highbrow magazines and becoming the face of Lancôme for more than a decade. Her queen-like elegance and grace were the spitting image of her mother's timeless appeal. Isabella later ventured into acting, scoring memorable roles in films like Death Becomes Her and Blue Velvet. Though she never reached the same stratospheric fame as her mother, she thrived in American and European cinema, earning respect and nominations for 2 Golden Globe Awards and a Primetime Emmy Award. Beyond that, she went into writing, filmmaking, and even activism. She is involved in training guide dogs for the blind, was a former trustee of the George Eastman House, and is a national ambassador for the U.S. Fund for UNICEF. Despite the controversial nature of her mother's personal life, Isabella Rossellini admires Bergman and has never shied away from talking about their relationship in interviews. Speaking of actresses with roots in Hollywood, here is...
My father.
Exquisite jawline.
He's never met a reflective surface he didn't like. And my sisters.
Number 6. Dakota Johnson. If Isabella Rossellini was born into cinematic royalty, then Dakota Johnson was born into a dynasty. Apart from being the daughter of Hollywood stars Melanie Griffith and Don Wayne Johnson, Dakota's grandmother is none other than Tippi Hedren. Despite the pressures of being a third-generation actress in one of Hollywood's most celebrated families, Dakota has so far proven she's cut from the same stone. Growing up, a young Dakota was surrounded by the glitz, glamour, and chaos of Hollywood. Her mother's career, from working girl to something wild, and her father's Miami Vice fame set a high bar, yet she was unshakable. Dakota Johnson made her film debut at age 10 with a small role in 1999's Crazy in Alabama, directed by her then stepfather, Antonio Banderas, and starring her mother. After finishing high school, she began auditioning and landed a minor role in The Social Network back in 2010. Her breakthrough finally came with the lead role in the 50 Shades film series in 2015. The following year, she earned a BAFTA Rising Star nomination and was named to the Forbes 30 Under 30 list. What makes Dakota's story particularly interesting is her relationship with her mother, Melanie Griffith. They share a warm and supportive bond. Their shared love for the craft is also evident in how Dakota has navigated her career thus far. Today, Dakota stands as a shining example of how children of Hollywood legends can thrive. She is a star in her own right and has largely succeeded in an industry where many crumble, especially when they start so early. The only road from here is up. Number 5. Goldie Hawn's daughter, Kate Hudson. Renowned for her quirky humor and lovable persona, Goldie Hawn may not be the most golden age actor, but boy was she talented. Her work on the NBC sketch comedy program Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In was brilliant, and she later received the Academy Award and Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actress for her performance in 1969's Cactus Flower. Since 1983, Goldie has been in a relationship with Kurt Russell, for whom she birthed Wyatt Russell. She is also the mother of Oliver and Kate Hudson, a seasoned American singer and actress, just like her mother. Though her breakthrough in the industry came late, she finally clinched it after portraying Penny Lane in Cameron Crowe's Almost Famous. Her performance in the 2000 hit earned her a Golden Globe for Best Supporting Actress and an Academy Award nomination in the same category. From then on, Kate Hudson became a staple of 2000's romantic comedies, starring in hits like How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, Fool's Gold, and Bride Wars. Would you believe she also appeared in films such as The Skeleton Key, Deepwater Horizon, and on TV in the Glee TV show? But guess what? Kate Hudson is far more than second-generation Hollywood actress. She has long dabbled in entrepreneurship and is a co-founder of the fitness brand and membership program Fabletics, which is operated by Textile Fashion Group. Her debut solo album, Glorious, was released in 2024. Before we go into the final lap of today's video, consider subscribing to the channel and turning on post notifications so you'll be the first to know whenever we unpack the savory stories of Golden Age heroes and villains. You can't afford to miss what we've got next, starting with the child of this Golden Age sweetheart.
Your Highness, the transmission we received. What is it they've sent us?
Number 4. Debbie Reynolds' daughter, Carrie Fisher. Famous for her iconic roles in classics like Singin' in the Rain and the unsinkable Molly Brown, Debbie Reynolds once had the industry and viewers in her palms. Her infectious smile, wholesome charm, and dazzling performances made her one of Tinseltown's most beloved faces. She was a symbol of Hollywood's golden age. However, her personal life was anything but a bed of roses. She faced devastating heartbreaks off-screen and low mental health a couple times. Debbie fought tooth and nail to rise time and again, a trait she seemingly passed on to her relatively legendary daughter, Carrie Fisher. You might remember her as Princess Leia in the original Star Wars films, a role she reprised in 2015's Star Wars The Force Awakens. Throughout her career, Carrie, daughter of singer Eddie Fisher, was nominated twice for the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Guest Actress in a Comedy Series for her performances in the NBC sitcom 30 Rock and the Channel 4 series Catastrophe. Though Debbie and Carrie shared a love for the craft, their bond was far deeper. Despite some turbulent moments, particularly during Carrie's battle with addiction and mental health issues, their relationship was always attached to love and admiration. What makes their story especially touching is how their lives intertwined professionally and personally. They co-starred in Bright Lights, starring Carrie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds, a documentary about their relationship that premiered at the 2016 Cannes Film Festival. She was praised for her publicly speaking about living with drug addiction and bipolar disorder. Tragically, they passed away just a day apart in 2016. Carrie died of a sudden cardiac arrest on December 27th at age 60, 4 days after experiencing a medical emergency during a transatlantic flight from London to Los Angeles. She was posthumously made a Disney legend the following year and was awarded posthumous Grammy Award for Best Spoken Word Album in 2018. Debbie Reynolds, on the other hand, passed away after a hemorrhagic stroke on December 28th. Don't take this to mean all Golden Age kids shared deep bonds with their parents, though. Some couldn't stand their pedigree, especially these three. Number 3. Ryan O'Neal's daughter, Tatum. When Tatum ONeal became the youngest person ever to win a competitive Academy Award at the age of 10 for her performance as Addie Loggins in Paper Moon, co-starring her father Ryan, everyone knew she was destined for success, which she did by starring in notable films like The Bad News Bears, Nickelodeon, and Little Darlings. She also made guest roles in top television series like Law & Order: Criminal Intent. But here's where things get really scary. Tatum was already using drugs and alcohol in her teens. What's more, she was abused several times by family members. This made her contemplate cutting her own wrists. You see, while her father Ryan appeared handsome and charming on screen, Tatum ONeal described a rocky relationship that started when she was still a child. He allegedly hated the fact that she won an Academy Award and had episodes of anger. Her mother, Joanna Moore, not any better. Tatum and her little brother Griffin ONeal lived with Joanna for the first 8 years of her life, and it was chaotic. ONeal's parents had divorced by then, and Joanna, also an actress, was a drug addict and unable to care for her children. In 2011, Ryan and Tatum tried to repair their bond after a 25-year rift on the documentary series Ryan and Tatum, The ONeals, but it didn't do much. Their relationship remains tumultuous. Tatum claimed to love her father, especially as nothing could change the hands of time and fate. But let's be real, guys. She deserved a lot better.
Well, it was no secret in the Hollywood community that as children we were abused. We had many servants who tried to intervene on our behalf, and they were fired.
Number 2. Joan Crawford's daughter, Christina. There's no denying that Joan Crawford was one of the industry's brightest faces back in her heyday. She was one of the highest paid women in the United States, but was labeled box office poison by the end of the 1930s. She had 2 adopted children, Christina and Christopher, the former of whom appeared in summer stock theater, including a production of Splendor in the Grass. She also acted in a number of off-Broadway productions, including In Color on Sundays, Dark of the Moon, and The Moon is Blue. However, Christina is best known for her 1978 memoir and exposé, Mommy Dearest, which described the alleged abuse she was subjected to by her adoptive mother, Joan Crawford, who never failed to control her life. The memoir was released a year after Crawford's death in 1977, so she never got to read it. But she had already disinherited both Christina and her son Christopher, primarily due to personal and family conflicts. Her will, which left the Crawford estate to charity, was seen as a reaction to the negative light in which she felt they had cast her. Think you've seen it all? Just wait until we reveal the topsy-turvy life of this Golden Age kid that ironically featured in the industry. Can you guess who she is? Number 1. Judy Lewis, daughter of Clark Gable. Few stars from Hollywood's Golden Age are as iconic as Clark Gable, the legendary actor best known for his role as Rhett Butler in Gone with the Wind. Yet his personal life stood in contrast to his on-screen image. He never publicly acknowledged Judy Lewis, widely believed to be the result of an affair with actress Loretta Young during the filming of Call of the Wild in 1935. Though rumors of their relationship persisted, neither Gable nor Young addressed them. The official story, which Young maintained until her daughter reached adulthood, was that she adopted Lewis when she was 19 months old. In truth, Lewis was born to Young on November 6, 1935, and Young kept the girl hidden, moving her between caregivers and an orphanage until she could arrange an adoption that would explain why a young, unmarried lady had a child. The truth about Lewis's parentage caused a years-long rift between the two, and it's hard to blame Lewis. Both parents rejected her when she was a baby, and her father never acknowledged her till death. Her words in an interview with People are both deafening and sharp. I ask myself why he didn't leave me something. Forget money, even just a letter. Gables' death ensured she never had her closure, and she died in 2011. So, what do you think? Do share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button. You also can't miss the next video on screen.